money doesn't matter.
कि जहाँ गई जहाँ गया सो जाओ।
नहीं आ रही।
क्या करूं मैं मर जाऊं? मेरी कोई फीलिंग नहीं है। तुम्हारी फीलिंग तुम्हारी, मेरी कोई फीलिंग नहीं है। तुम्हारी फीलिंग तुम्हारी। साडा कुत्ता टॉमी, साडा कुत्ता कुत्ता। साडा कुत्ता टॉमी, साडा कुत्ता कुत्ता। क्या करूं मैं मर जाऊं? साडा कुत्ता टॉमी, साडा कुत्ता कुत्ता।
Yeah.
Okay, superb. Mr. Yash, I am super excited. I have to be honest that I was in all smiles since this morning because I had to go to my office today for, we guys usually, I have been working from home since March last year. I work in IT, and since a month or so, we have started to go into the office for 1 day a week. And every Wednesday we go into the office. And this morning, obviously, I was going into the office and I was in all smiles. The simple reason being, you're coming on the podcast. And the reason why it brought a big smile on my face is the amazing creativity that you've got in your videos. It just makes me go back and watch your videos again and again. And to be honest with you, to be brutally honest with you, I am not a person who sticks with, I'm not addicted to YouTube at all. I don't really watch much of videos at all. It so happened that this is very recent actually. Out of the blue, one of your videos came on my feed, and that was bikini shoot. And I just could not stop laughing. And I watched that video like 3 to 4 times again and again, and then the rhythm that you had got me hooked, and the way in which you you executed the whole thing was just sensational. And then after that I realized, I saw the views and I was blown away. And then I thought, oh my god, who is this guy? I apologize, I apologize. I wasn't aware about it before because I've not been watching all this stuff. And then, so I watched, that was your first video I watched. And the next morning I was making my coffee and then I was sipping it and then fired up YouTube, and then your Tommy video comes up.
Yeah.
And that blew me away. I'm like, oh my god, this rhythm is amazing, and the way you've done again. So I watched it a couple of times and I just left it at that. And next day, you won't believe, I'm not making this up, but this is the sequence of things that happened. And literally the third day, that is after watching the Tommy video, the following day, I had put a little clip about Shankar Mahadevan sir talking about A.R.Rahman sir.
Yeah.
And you happened to notice that somehow, I don't know how. And you shared it in your story.
That's because I follow the A.R.Rahman hashtag on Instagram. So anything related to him, I just get to know.
And you shared it on your story, and all your fans started to message me after that. We have come here after Yashraj's story, and then that's how they started to know about my podcast journey. And then they absolutely loved that little clip, Shankar Mahadevan sir's. And I think it was a couple of days later, AR sir himself had posted a little clip of that Nuran sisters, I think.
Nuran sister.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he was in all splits when he has obviously seen it. And then he has commented, tagging you, asking whether you did it.
Yeah, I was shocked and someone tagged me there. AR sir has mentioned you in a comment. It's such a big thing for me. I just went there, sir. No, sir, I did not make this, but I am just so glad that you typed my name there. It was huge.
Yeah. And I know Sir does follow you. He does get to watch your videos. I can tell you this,
God.
and he absolutely loves it. And that is obviously one of the reasons why he felt that you made that video clip.
Yeah, that's great. That's so good to know that.
In fact, I still remember that day when that happened, when he posted that clip, and then he mentioned you. I think later in the afternoon or the evening, I was actually having a small chat with him, and then he was in all smiles the whole day. He was in a superb, amazing, chilled out mood.
Great. Great.
So,
Great.
thank you so much once again, Yash, and it's an absolute privilege to have you. And what amazes me is the creativity that goes behind the stuff that you create, you put together. And of course, there are so many ways to attain fame in this world, but you invest in your creativity, and I think the magic comes out of that. So that's what amazes me, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you on this podcast because I think it was just last week or the week before. As part of this as part of this I Love ARR podcast journey, you may have seen Sir himself posting it on Twitter and Facebook as well about this podcast. About your guest number 72 as of today, by the way.
Oh my God.
So it's been a phenomenal run. Of course, my videos do not go even beyond a few hundreds. I can tell you this.
No, but the first clip I saw, Shankar sir's, Mahadevan sir's clip, the way he was speaking about AR sir in that, I felt I connected immediately. And I thought that there's one podcast where I can go and talk about AR sir the way I want to. Like, there's such a nice community, and I'm like, I think there are more people here who have heard his South Indian music more, I guess, in this community. I have heard more the Hindi stuff more. But it is great, and I was excited to come here already.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much once again. And so as part of this journey, right, Sir's fans started connecting with me, and then that's how the I Love ARR community evolved from nowhere. And it's been a magical ride. And then Sir himself was on the podcast, AR Sir, and spent about 55 minutes and 5 seconds. We spoke so much. He cracked so many jokes. I cracked jokes. We were both laughing. It will release as a grand finale, of course, because I have to be fair for all the 72 guests who have come. So, and so it's been a phenomenal run. More than anything else, I think it's these are cherished memories that I'm creating for, number one, for myself, number two, for the guests, and number three, for all the fans, all Sir's fans, where they can go back, revisit these cherished memories, and it's going to live for a long time. So I'm very thrilled, and there are no brands, there are no sponsors. I'm doing it in my personal time, and so no returns, no monetization whatsoever, and that's my journey.
Wow, amazing! That's great, super.
Hundreds of hours of hard work.
I'm really glad that you talked about the beats I've used in my music. That very rare, very few people talk about that. They only see the funny part of it. But I can get now. Like, I know that you interested in the music and why. Yesterday only I was talking to my parents and they were asking me, what is this podcast? I told them about the podcast. And they were like, what is this podcast? There's nothing. We are just here for the love and respect we have for AR sir, and that's great. Wow. It's good to be here.
Amazing. And yeah, I have a lot of respect for you, Yash, and then I'm very thrilled that someone like yourself, who absolutely deserves all the fame, and I really hope and pray that there's more and more comes your way and lives forever. And but just keep these creativity going, and you're here to rock. So
Thank you. Thanks.
thank you so much. And I know we have heaps to talk about. And I know I've read your recent interview as well, and I didn't realize that you were an engineering graduate in music production. This is very, very
Actually,
inspiring.
I'm not an engineering graduate in music production. I'm just an engineer in electronics and telecommunication.
Oh, yeah?
So,
Okay.
yeah, music production I learned online by reading, by
Wow.
watching interviews and practicing myself. So
Wow.
that's how I learned music production.
Amazing. And then, just out of curiosity, may I ask why did you choose music production than anything else? Being an electronics and
I
telecommunication engineer again.
Oh, so I was into music from my childhood. My father is
Mm.
also used to sing, and
Yeah.
I used to play the keyboard from when I was 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I had the small that Casio keyboard, the first version. I
Wow.
had that, and then my dad brought me a bigger one, the Yamaha
Yeah.
PSR thing. Then I played that for a very long time. Then later I got to know that, when you hear those songs at that age, the first thing is, that comes into your mind is, how are they doing it? How is this done?
True.
What if I can do this? And in my mind I used to divide the entire track into pieces, into a single track. Okay, so this is the bass playing. Okay, this is, I can hear the harmonies on my left. I
Right.
can hear this part is on the right. Okay,
Oh,
so this, they
wow.
must have recorded this separately, and they must have patched it. Then
Mm.
my Google searches were like, how to make music, how to
Oh,
make a
wow.
song. That was initial stages when I did
Right.
not know what is music production. I did not know this concept.
Yeah.
So that was initial, that those were my initial Google searches. Then I landed up on some YouTube videos where they used to explain what is, how do you record, what is the interface. So when I saw it for the first time, I did not understand anything. So as I grew up, as I started doing my polytechnic and my engineering,
Yeah.
that is when I actually started recognizing, okay, so this is sound, wave propagation. What is sound
Yeah.
propagation? What is
Yeah.
analog? How does it convert to digital?
Yeah.
So my engineering was also happening, and side by side I was learning this from the
Amazing.
internet and by practicing. So initial stages were like any mix engineer would know. Like, I used to make something in the studio on my headphones, and then I used to take it in my phone and I used to play it in my car, and it used to sound horrible. And I used to it's very bad. And
Yeah.
then I used to get depressed and all, like, what did I do wrong? What went wrong? Why am I not, because it
Yeah.
is sounding great here, what is going wrong?
Yeah.
So then I used to Google that, what how to mix a song. And
Wow.
then I used to read that many people have this problem because there are room acoustics involved, and you
Okay.
hear one thing in one place, and when you put it, so there is a process called mixing, there's a process called mastering. So
Wow.
it was a very, very gradual process, but that is how I learned, by doing and then doing mistakes and then rectifying them.
Amazing. And I assume that you created your own studio in during that process.
Yeah, so it was my bedroom studio first. Then I shifted it to a bigger room in my house. Then when I actually went to Mumbai after my polytechnic, after my degree course,
Yeah.
and I was planning to shift there and put up my studio there.
Mm.
But I went there and I did not I did not like that place because it was all very, like, the life there is very fast,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't manage, and the space was very small and
Yeah.
the rent was too high.
Yeah.
I couldn't, so I came back, and the studio I have right now is right next to my house.
Okay.
So this used to be the parking, and I just built a studio here, a small room here. So now I work from here, and I do all my projects from here only.
Oh, wow, amazing. And all the magic happens there, I take it, right? So, and during your initial days, obviously you were into covers and stuff. I
Yeah,
take it.
like all YouTubers, like all musicians, first I started making covers. That was my process of learning. So
Yeah.
I used to listen to a song and I used to try to replicate that exact music production, and I used to compare it with the original track and my track, and that is how I used to rectify the mistakes.
Right.
So I started singing. I wasn't interested into singing that much,
Okay.
but because it was easier, I could just grab my mic and start singing. And I made a few covers initially, and those were appreciated because people specifically told me that your sound and music production sounds better than all, because there are other singers on YouTube uh, who are very good singers, but they just don't have their music production is little low. That is why their
Agree.
videos don't stand out that much.
Agree.
So I used to make sure that even if my singing is not that great, my sound should be to the power of the real original song. So that is how I practice. So those were
Yeah.
the initial days when I started making covers,
Yeah.
and I used to sing and try to replicate the exact music production of the original song.
Right. And I have to mention that I do like one of your covers for sure, Rena too.
Yeah.
And your the impros and stuff was amazing, and the way you did it, like you did it in your own style. That's what I like more.
Thank you so much.
So
I wanted to give that, it's a very dreamy vibe to it. That song already has a very dreamy vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it's while touching an A.R. sir song, it's a little risky, but I actually made it for myself to listen to it while before sleeping. No, I just need that 1 minute meditation thing, but then I put it out for people, so they liked it.
yeah, I personally like that, and I did like the "Ye Dil Hai Mushkil" as well. That one. That's a nice one too. I mean, of course, I do like all the stuff that you do, but specifically, I wanted to pick these, and yeah, it's amazing. And then was there is one video that I have to talk about, and then the money doesn't matter
Yeah.
dialogue. Was that how should I put it? The claim to fame.
I think, yeah, because that was my first like this dialogue mashup thing. That
Yeah.
was my first video when I did that, and it got a decent amount of traction down in the south when people
Yeah.
knew that guy. And it, like in Hindi, not many people understood what it was, but the people who see his videos, they got it, and I totally enjoy it. Like everything he says is so rhythmic. I can make 10 videos on his speeches. But that was my first dialogue mashup.
Yeah, okay. And where did this inspiration come from? I'm very curious. Of all the people in the whole world, you picked this guy.
I used to watch his videos from before that also, and there's one musician called Dub Sharma, who did
Okay.
who did a few songs in Gully Boy also.
Okay.
He's an amazing music producer and as a musician.
Mm.
He used to do this very small videos on his profile on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Where he used to take random people walking on the road singing somewhere. He used to take those sounds and make something out of that. I
Wow.
found it damn interesting. And when at this Nityanand Baba video, when I saw it, anything he says, it's like he's singing it. So
Yeah.
I thought there is so much rhythm in it. I should definitely put beats to this. And so the idea came from Dub Sharma, but then I twisted it a little bit and made it my own.
Right. I'm hoping he has seen it too. The
Yeah,
Nityanand.
actually, I think he has seen it, and his followers have messaged me, and they were very cool about it. We liked the video, and it was very funny. So
Oh,
I
wow.
thought, great. Yeah,
They took it sportively. Nice.
absolutely. Yeah.
And look, one of your most recent ones, the Powery, right?
Yeah.
As I told you, the I Love ARR community, it has been so popular that one of the members created a version of that too, and then she had shared it on her Facebook. I'll send the link later, but I found that very, very interesting. And then you had done it really well. I don't know, where did this idea come from again? I'm just curious.
That was very, very, very spontaneous. I just saw the video in the morning. As I woke up from my sleep, that was the first thing I saw. And I just came to the studio and I just randomly started jamming to it. And that was the first beat that came. I immediately structured it, and within 3-4 hours, I was done by the entire video editing, audio mixing, everything was done in 4 hours.
Oof.
It was very spontaneous, and that is why it works. No, with something
True,
feels right, and you do it, fatafat, and it
And I have to mention, and of course, look, this is what happened. I watched one of your videos, that bikini shoot, which came up randomly out of the blue on my feed for a person who never watches much of YouTube at all. And then I ended up watching all your stuff. And then I also watched this professional sleeper. I thought it was very interesting. I was just keen to see, okay, you're getting dressed, you're doing all these things. I was waiting to see what is this guy about to do. And the way you jumped onto the bed and then went to sleep.
I'm so glad it hit the right thing, because it was for a brand, and
Yeah.
that's how we decided that was the whole point. That you'll show a few shots of you
Yeah.
and getting ready for going to go on a job, and putting on the tie, professional look, your formal t-shirt, put on a formal shirt, and then you go to sleep, because that was the concept that
Yeah.
was around it. But I'm so glad you liked it. I also, that's my personal favorite.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I don't know if you know about this already. So I think down south, I can't remember which movie, but there is this comedy actor in that movie. Look, I don't really remember the name of the movie, but this guy, to pretend to his wife that he's actually going to work and stuff like that, he will, and also to the society, he will wake up early in the morning, get dressed up, and then dress up really well, go out, and then go to a park, pull out a lungi, and put it on the bench and sleep, and then wake up at 5:30 in the evening and go back home.
That's great.
Right. So, of course, would love to talk about someone we both absolutely love and adore. And then I still remember, of course, when the Shankar Mahadevan sir's video clip came up, and then I think your comment was A.R.R. sir is God, or God of music, something along those lines is what you had written. And then I was very touched because we know how much we love sir, and it's beyond his music, it's the person he is. And I was extremely keen to speak to you just with that one comment that you had put. And interestingly enough, I told you the sequence of things that happened, and here we are. And I think I somehow feel that universe listens to or follows the stuff that's meant to happen. So let's start from there. A.R.R. sir, what comes to your mind? Yes.
Oh my God. When I said that he is God, I totally mean it, because so I'm a kind of a person, I don't have any religious beliefs. I have no other beliefs. But when I hear his music, no, I feel it is not just technically, it is not a technical connect. Like, there are people, like there are other musicians that I love, there are other composers that I love their songs, there are so many of them, and I like them because I technically understand what they are doing with their music, and that is why I connect to them, and that is why I like them. But with AR sir, it is something beyond the technical thing. It is something spiritual that I can't explain, and that is why I've never been able to understand his music. It is just felt. There is there are so many songs that I just listen to before I'm going to sleep, because I feel that is my prayer. I don't do any other stuff like that, but that is my prayer. So before I go to sleep, I just hear one Adan Parinde. I just close my eyes and I hear the entire song, and I just consume it, and I just go to sleep.
Wow.
So that is something that is not technical. You can't put it into ki acha of course it is like he's a great musician. There's no doubt about it, but it is something beyond that. It is not just people like him just because he's a good musician. So that is the level of connect I have, and I have never met him. You understand, I have never met a person and I feel this very deep connect with him.
Beautiful.
There must be something very special about it. So yeah, and that's not just me. There's so many people in the country, outside the country, who feel the connect, who cry and laugh and are happy to listening to his music. So that is the level of connect. I have other people who I adore and who are inspirational, but this is something else. This is different.
Very special.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. As I can totally relate to what you're saying, because as a classic example, I'm thousands of miles away I'm here in Australia, sir is in India, and he comes in my dreams. And sometimes there was one dream that came recently. I can't remember when exactly it was, where sir and I are walking on a street in Sydney. I live in Melbourne. For some reason, myself and sir were walking on the streets in Sydney. And then I told him, sir, can we go have a coffee or something? And we are sitting at a cafe and things like that. And then on another day, another dream, like sir and I are in the same hotel room. And I wake up from my sleep, and then sir is sitting in one corner, and he's fiddling with his keyboard.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and I say, sir, do you want to have tea? I'll make some. He said, no, don't disturb me. I'm working. And all these things happen in a dream for me. So, well, I just felt like narrating it. But the connect that you're talking about, I can totally relate. So you did early on, in the conversations you mentioned that you obviously go and dissect the music, not just sir's music in general. In general, you go dissect the music in terms of how it's been done and layer by layer and things like that. Have you ever been able to dissect sir's songs? And if so, which one?
Actually, I have this series on my YouTube channel also where I break down songs. So I have one video where I broke down Masakali. So it is not 100% right, of course, but I've tried my best to just listen and just gauge the layers, what layers they must have used while making the production. And recently, there's a song from Dil Bechara, the title song.
Yeah.
So I tried dissecting that. It's such an enjoyable process to just listen to the track and just while when you have a blank project in front of you, you can't think of something that will create that much impact. When you actually dissect a song by legends like these, that time you realize, oh, this small thing you did is creating so much impact. That's creating so much bandwidth in the frequency. So that I get to learn from those songs. I've done 2 songs, I think Masakali and Dil Bechara. Dil Bechara is not out, but I've done Masakali, and it is not easy at all just to listen to the track. It is still not 100% there, but I just try to, just for learning purpose, I try to. The Masakali was one of those tracks.
Amazing. And do you remember which one was the first ever song of Sir's that you ever heard? And probably which one just created the magic and then said, this is A.R.Rahman. Let's jump into it.
I think I don't remember the first song, because the songs you always used to play in my house, those were the Roja track. Like, I don't think there's any Indian who hasn't heard Roja album. Then there was Dil Se, and so I am born in 95, and Dil Se released in 98, 99, I guess.
Yeah, correct.
So I don't remember the first song, but because they used to play. And but the first time, so when I grew up, I think when I was in school, 8th standard, that time Jaane Tu Hai Jaane Na was released. And there's very small scene in that movie where the like Genelia's brother is showing her his room for the first time, and he enters the room, and there he has his own world. He is into painting, and he has put paintings on the walls and all. And he enters the room, and the music starts playing. I think those are pianos or harps, I guess. And that just took me to some other world in the theater. And I remembered that music for a long time. And when I came back home, I searched who had done the music. Then, of course, A.R. sir. But by that time, I wasn't a very big fan like I am right now, because that time I did not understand music that much. I had no clue. But that music stayed with me. And then the entire album I heard, then I went back, and then I realized, oh, this is the same guy who made Dil Se, the song I have been listening for all these years. I knew. And there's one amazing thing in the song Chaiya Chaiya, Dil Se. I used to love that song because it's such a great song. Like, if you buy a 10 rupees phone in a train also, they play Chaiya Chaiya in that. And it's the most epic song musically also. That's the range of his music, this thing. So Chaiya Chaiya was my favorite song. When you track back, then you realize ki, acha, all these songs which I love are by this man, and all the songs that people don't talk about that much, those are not that popular also. I
Yeah.
realized, oh, this guy has made this. So, so that is how you become a fan.
Amazing, amazing. And then I obviously I take it you would have a strong inclination towards Sufi songs as well.
Absolutely. That first connect when I felt was in Rockstar. Kun Faya Kun was
Oh
my
yeah. Oh my
uh,
God.
that time I was in my polytechnic, and
Yeah.
I used to have my maths class at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I used to I used to get up at 5, and 5:30 I used to go to my maths class. So that was a 20-minute ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
20 minutes I used to start Kun Faya Kun from here at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. You can imagine what impact it can make.
Oof.
So I used to start Kun Faya Kun, and that was the time because the road is all there's no one on the road. It's dark.
Mm.
It was cold and it was in winters,
Mm.
and I'm listening to Kun Faya Kun. So that is when I felt that connect.
Wow.
This is not just, I'm not just liking this because it is good music. It is something beyond this.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Yeah, I mean this especially Kun Faya Kun does something to me every time I hear.
Yeah.
And the way in which there's so many singers in there too, right?
Yeah.
Mohit Chauhan, Javed Ali, and all these guys. Oh my God. Yeah. So
I am the guy who doesn't have any religious beliefs. Can you, like, there's so many people who have no religious beliefs, but when they hear something like this, it is you are just taken to some other world.
indeed, indeed. And ever been to a concert, or is that something on your list?
No, I have once.
Yeah.
It was for an NH7 concert,
Oh yeah.
and completely magical. There was a crowd. I was the first one to, because of I knew that stage number 3 has A.R.Rahman at 8 p.m. So I was there standing in the front row from 7 p.m. 1 hour I was
Oh.
standing, but 1 hour the other people gathered, and 8 p.m. it started.
Yeah.
And I think the first song they played was, so the first 10 minutes is just A.R. sir playing the piano
Mm.
and just calming down the audience, because it's all high energy all around there. And he's playing the piano 10-15 minutes, it's just jamming, nothing is happening.
Wow.
And suddenly the bass line of Dil Se Re starts. The crowd goes crazy. The crowd goes mad. The ting, 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 ting,
Yeah.
that is the impact. That is the impact. That is when you feel, oh my God, and that song has come out like now it has been more than 20 years
Correct.
old song,
Correct.
and I haven't heard any other album which is more fresh in terms of sound than that. It's great.
And I've been fortunate to go to a number of Sir's concerts, and what I've noticed is every time he plays Dil Se, it's always different. He does something magical and creative in that, and it's always magical, no doubt about it. But it's always different, and he does. I don't know how he does it, and I've also had the privilege of seeing the rehearsals for a concert
Very
or two.
fortunate, man.
And
Very
I've been
fortunate
blessed.
person.
I've been blessed. That's
Yeah.
all. And it's very, very magical as to how Sir goes into the zone, and then it just comes out. And he does it, and he smiles, and he makes it seem like nothing really happened.
Yeah.
So, and thing is, I mean, I, you know, I might be stretching the boundaries of our friendship, but since you are into singing as well, any song that comes to your mind, maybe 2 lines, I'll not trouble you.
All right, I'll just think of some song. There's so many songs.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right?
Yeah, it's a very tough one. I'll just sing. And you know the composition style of his, no, it is not like there's so many songs of his are they don't have a structure. So if you start singing, you have to complete it till the end. So I'll just sing a part from Kabhi Kabhi Aadi Thi.
Okay.
तू खुश है तो लगे कि जहां में छाई है खुशी, सूरज निकले बादलों से और बांटे जिंदगी, सुन तो जरा मदहोश हवा तुझसे कहने लगी, हे अदिति वो जो बिछड़ते ही एक ना एक दिन फिर मिल जाते हैं, अदिति जाने तू या जाने ना फूल फिर खिल जाते हैं, कभी कभी अदिति जिंदगी में यूं ही कोई अपना लगता है, कभी कभी अदिति वो बिछड़ जाए तो एक सपना लगता है, ये अदिति हंसते 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 तू जरा, नहीं तो बस थोड़ा 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 मुस्कुरा.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Composition.
beautiful. And it's a tough song too, Yash. It's a tough song.
Yeah, it's a tough song. It looks like it is very easy when you hear it because it comes at a point in the film also. It very happy things are happening, but
Yeah.
it's very tough.
I was actually surprised you picked that song because it's a very tough song.
Yeah, yeah.
So, obviously, life has changed for you prior to what it was before. And then, what's a day in Yashraj's life is like these days?
So
Of course, you're not a professional sleeper. I can tell you this.
no, I'm a professional. I think I can call myself a music producer now because
Yeah.
I'm producing music for other people also now.
Amazing.
And the primary goal is to set up my YouTube and set up my social profile, social media profile very strong, and not just put out the dialogue mashup content, but also experiment with other stuff, make original content which will live longer. The disadvantage of these viral videos is that people will talk about it
Correct.
for 2-3 weeks and it will
Correct.
go
Correct.
off. So I have to make identify my own sound, discover myself, and make something sustainable which will
True.
be here for a longer period of time.
True.
So that is happening. So every morning I just come to the studio and try to make one good tune, and then I fail by the evening, and then I go back and sleep in disappointment. And and then I side by side I do some the brand work. I make
Yeah.
jingles for others, but those are with constraints and for people.
Correct.
It's for a brand, so I can't completely go do what I want there.
Yeah.
So that is happening. But the primary goal is to the two primary goals. One is to discover myself and make good music, which will stay longer. Other is to somehow try to work with Amit Trivedi sir because I am a huge fan of his also. And then there is one big ambition to just meet AR sir and touch his feet and thank him for all the good music he has given us. I have no plans of working with AR sir because I have nothing to contribute. Won't be able to contribute anything that will add value to whatever he's making. So there's working with AR sir is like it's not even on my list because I can't reach there. But just to meet him and just touch his feet and just thank him for all the music he has made. Like these are my real practical, not practical, I guess, but very prominent goals I have now.
Wow, wow, amazing. And I'm pretty sure it'll happen. And why not? He'll make you sing. And Sir and his team do keep a tab on this podcast journey. So
Yeah.
you never know, Sir might end up watching this, and then at least he will smile. So, do you have a team that manages the stuff like your social media and your daily life, and so that you focus on the cool stuff, or how does it really work?
I have a friend who does all that. He looks after all the mails and all.
Yeah,
But most of it is under my control only. I try to keep it because social media and internet is something that it should be very personal.
Correct.
You can't get people to do it for you. That is when you will connect with the audience. Because if this was in some other industry, other entertainment industry like the films and all, there you can get people to do stuff for you. But internet is not something. Internet is a very one-to-one individual medium. So people come search your name and go to watch your videos. So it should be very personal. I think so. I try to keep it very personal, private.
But how do you manage with millions of followers and so many DMs that you must be getting, and thousands and thousands of people tagging you? How do you keep up, and how do you manage your time?
I'm struggling with that only. Just it is. I might say that I would do everything myself, but it is not possible at all.
Yeah.
So the work related there when so clearly saying that when money is involved, I have a guy who does that for me.
Yeah.
He talks about me. He does all the branding thing, brand work, and
Mm.
everything. Interviews and all, like I do it personally. I don't let anyone, but I miss a lot of things in that also. But I get to get the important ones, and I try to reply to people. But if I just keep on replying people, I won't be able to make music. So I have a set limit. So this 1 hour I'll give to
Nice.
replying people and just thanking them,
Yeah.
and then I'll get back to making music. Because if I don't make music, these people are going to go. So I have to make music that they can stay.
And you have to keep reinventing yourself, right? That's the best part about this.
Yeah, actually now I'm at a point that I haven't invented myself yet. I don't know what is my sound. Every musician and composer has his own sound. So I don't have it yet. I'm just trying to figure out stuff, make original songs, more original songs, which is not easy at all. It
Yeah.
is so hard to compose a
Yeah.
good song, and I'm just struggling with it these days.
It's an interesting aspect that you just raised because you touched on the original music, right? What's your thoughts on that? Because more and more people are trying to go towards original music with so many constraints that I've heard of with the labels and stuff, and then trying hard to make the original music popular. And you may have seen in one of Sir's interviews about 2 months ago, I think, where he even mentioned about some of the artists whose videos, one of her videos was like 73 views for someone as talented as that person, and then someone else getting more. Like I'm just curious to know your thoughts on this.
So original music. So they say that labels and music the production companies and label companies and music film producers. Because of them, good music gets it doesn't get the kind of attention it deserves.
Yeah.
But that I think that is limited to the entertainment, the Hindi films and those things. When there is a pressure of making content which will satisfy the producer, the director, the actors. There is a music company, and then the multiple things that's not under one man's control. But the internet thing, the individual artist thing, no, it is very. I think internet is very democratic in that way. So if now I have a good number of audience, so it is easier for me to say. But even if you're starting off, I don't think there is a problem here, because here I just have to make music. If I like it, I'll just put it on my YouTube channel. That's all I have to do. I don't have a producer's pressure. I don't have a director's pressure. I just have to make good music, and which will stand out. Which is it. Then it can't be average. You can't put average music and then expect. There you can make average stuff in the Hindi film industry, and then there is label to boost it up. There are big labels, big companies. They'll put your music on the trending list on the on number one. But that is for average music. If you want to come here, it's a democratic setup. You have to make something which will stand out, and that is how you make your place. So now that this dialogue mashup thing has given me that liberty to make. So if I put out my original song, there are 44 million people who are interested in what I make. So some might like it, some might not like it, and that is also very clear. I get to see it in numbers. I get to read what they are feeling, if they liked it or not liked it. And if they like it, I get to make more. So no one is stopping me from that. And also YouTube gives money, so that is not very sustainable, but it is decent amount of income.
Yeah, of course. And are you, of course, creative people have their own ways of working, and we all know how Sir works. As far as I know,
At night?
he never sleeps. Of course, lately he manages to get a few hours of sleep here and there, but Sir is someone who constantly works, constantly trying to make new things. You there?
Yeah, I just missed the last line.
Ah, okay. Your video is frozen.
1 second, I'll fix it.
Ah, yeah. Ah, yep, it's good. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's good. I was saying that Sir is someone who constantly keeps working. And then, in fact, when Sir came on the podcast, I specifically asked him, Sir, do you actually get to sleep or you're always working? He was smiling and he said, yeah, I do sleep. And he tries to catch up some sleep. But as far as I know, Sir is always thinking about work. He wants to give the best. And imagine somebody of Sir's stature having to think about like that, even for the smallest sound that comes out of Panchatan. Uh, it just amazes me. And yeah, well, I mean, I wanted
Did you
to.
ever did you ever get a chance to be in the room when he was making something or composing, or he does it alone, or what is the process?
I wish I would have had that opportunity, but I've seen the studio. As far as I know, Sir, when he composes, no one is allowed in the room. So Sir is all by himself, and he spends time composing. And first, he goes to pray. He finishes the prayers, and then comes in. And then when he's composing, no one is allowed, and he's all by himself. And then magic just happens. And then he's obviously sharing those notes with his assistants, and then that's their task and their project to start working on it. So that's how it starts. This is what I have heard from Sir's assistants. I've not seen it happen, but that's
I think
that's
there's one video on YouTube where he's composing Enga Punarasa.
yeah.
Yeah, with Shakti Sri Gopalan sitting, and
Yeah.
but even when you see him doing it, you can't figure out what is exactly happening. He
Yeah.
just listen to something. He's just writing something on the iPad, and
Indeed,
he's just,
indeed.
and it was, but it's a like I would give anything to just to watch that. How does that process happen?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've had the fortune of watching Sir during rehearsals, during concerts, and that itself was very magical because more than looking at him the way he does it, the aura around him was more, it's very, very powerful. And I literally shiver when he is around. And so, yeah, anyway, but look, I don't want to digress, but I was keen to know what's your style of working? Do you actually, are you a morning person? Are you a night person? How do you prefer to work?
Actually, so it is very easier to work at nights,
Hmm.
but I have avoided doing that because it affects the health,
Correct.
and you see it on the face if you have not slept properly. But yeah, nights are really like when I shut down the studio around 8 9 p.m., and when I go back to sleep, just before sleeping, some idea comes
Hmm.
just right before you're falling asleep, and I just take out my phone, I record it, and I just
Wow.
continue to the next morning when I come here. So
Hmm.
that has happened many times. And there's another thing is some, I don't know, very, it's very strange, but many tunes and many good ideas come in the bathroom when I'm in the bath, when I'm bathing or something, and when I'm brushing my teeth, and suddenly I realize, oh, I can do this, and this I take my phone and just record it, and I continue it when I come to the studio.
Wow. Yeah, I remember Sir saying this in one of his interviews. He gets a lot of ideas, especially when he's flying, and when he's
Yeah.
up in the air, and then he records it in his phone again. And
Yeah, the same thing I've heard in some Amit sir's interview also. Amit Trivedi sir. He is also like he's also a biggest fan. I have know that, and I've met him also. I've met Amit sir, and I'm like a mad fan for Amit sir.
hmm.
And he also said me the same thing, that I was the same thing for A.R. sir when he was young. And Tirula Tirula was his first this album when he heard his music. So this is
Yeah.
such a nice connection. You see, there's one guy who has made this huge, large song bank, and it is influencing generations after him, and people are making careers out of that. So And still, I've like till I don't know if you're aware of an artist called Justine Royal, very new artist. She has composed music for film. She's one film old, and she does singles otherwise. But she's like the recent discovery. So
Right.
I've been talking to her also, and she's also like, yes, I've heard Yarsas, and there's a lot of influence of his sound on my music. So it is still here, and I think it will go beyond this also. Like coming generations also will always remember, try to follow his sound. This thing.
Right. So, do you feel that the music that you make has a strong influence from Sir's music?
I think, but as I told you, I still don't have my music as such. I don't have a strong song bank to compare. So I just have four original songs which I
Yeah.
released last year, and those are very like you cannot join them. There's no particular sound to it. I'm just discovering right now, so I don't know if it has an impact or no, or what, how to make it, or how not to sound like him, or not how to make an original sound which will stand out from others.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate goal, to make something which would not sound like anyone, but
Yeah.
that's completely impossible. So but I work towards that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because if you know, if you allow me to go back to that Shankar Mahadevan sir's clip where he actually talks about these days, leave alone people who make music sound like A.R. Rahman. People have started to look like A.R. Rahman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's the magic Sir has via his music, and also the person he is again. And I was definitely going to touch on Amit Trivedi.
Yeah.
So he's a very good friend of mine, and he's become a great friend, especially after this podcast journey. And I had invited Amit on this podcast, and
I think I saw a clip. You had put a clip on your Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he spent about an hour and a half in the podcast. And even at the end of the podcast, we felt like it wasn't enough. And he wanted to come back again. So I'm going to bring him back again for podcast 2.0. And I've had 72 guests so far, of course, including Sir. And I have never been thrilled and touched by the love that someone had for Sir. So far, of course, Amit just tops the list, and he just tops the list. The way, I mean, of course, I will definitely share the link to you when the podcast releases. Well, I'm happy to announce that it's releasing on his birthday, so it's on the 8th of April. So I'll get Amit to release it himself, and I've not let the date yet. So I personally absolutely love the podcast that Amit was in, and the passion and the respect that he has for Sir. And he's a very renowned music director on by himself, and still the admiration that he has for Sir is just phenomenal. And then we went in depth in the podcast, and Amit was unstoppable. When the moment I said AR Sir, boom, he just went. And of course, in depth about Trida Trida album. In depth. No one has ever spoken about that album like him. Every single track he touched, and with passion he explained. And then towards the end of the podcast, of course, I asked him if there was any message for Sir, and he went very quiet, and he said, no, it's not possible. And he got emotional in the podcast just thinking about Sir. That is Amit for us, and I have huge amount of respect for Amit. And the best part is all the ARR Sir fans love Amit.
Exactly.
Because of the respect and the love that he has for Sir, and also the music that he makes, and the person he is. For me, the person he is tops the first, because after all, Yash, think about it. I'm just a fan. I'm thousands of miles away, and Amit keeps in touch with me even now. Why should he think about Chanda? I'm nothing. I'm no one for him. And sir, thousands and thousands of miles away and dealing with millions of things in his head and still keeps in touch with me. And sometimes I get a text, how are you doing? Hope you're well. And then, have you found a girl yet? When are you getting married? I get asked about things like this. So it just amazes me. Now, I mean, of course, I wanted your thoughts about Amit. I know he's an inspiration for you.
Absolutely. Like the way he was speaking about Tiroda Tiroda, I can speak about Devdi. Devdi is that album.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Which I praise.
Yeah.
I also got a chance to meet Amit sir when this Rasoda video got viral. After a few weeks after that, I got to meet Anurag Kashyap sir.
Yeah.
And then he got me to meet, because Amit sir is also not that much active on social media and that on other stuff. But I used to keep messaging him from years. I used to make a cover of his song and just send him and keep tagging him everywhere I can. And so he got me to meet Amit sir. So we met at Starbucks, and that was just after the lockdown, so that they did not allow us to sit inside. So we were standing outside on the footpath and
Oh, this was just recent then.
Yeah, it was. This was. I think this was around October.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
After this video went viral, and this was very recent. And after, I did not expect. Like I used to. I pray, like these people are like gods to me. And when I went there and we got the coffee and all, and we were standing on the footpath and we've talked there for 45-50 minutes. Like he doesn't have to do that. He could just even if Anurag sir has told him to meet me, he could have just called me, we could have taken a picture, and he could have said bye, and I would be happy. I wouldn't mind. But he gave me that time, and out of in that conversation also, half the time you were talking about AR sir. I was telling him that how I love Devdi and how I've worshipped his music. And he said that I was exactly like this for AR sir. And then he talked about Tiroda Tiroda there also. So it's a very nice connection. One man can impact so many people, so many lives, so many careers, influence different music, different genres in music. It's great. And Amit sir is my anytime if I have a musical, like he has just released some masterclass on some app.
Yeah, I saw that.
I just finished watching that yesterday, and when I started watching the masterclass, I was like, okay, this technical thing, this would be very interesting. I can watch this masterclass and I'll get to learn a little bit. And towards the middle of the masterclass, I was at, oh no, there's so much to learn. I would never be able to do this, because then he talked about the approach and how to convey emotion and how to convert every emotion. There's a way to this. Everything's on the approach.
Wow.
So in the middle of the masterclass, because at the start he was talking about technical things and chords and stuff, I was like, okay, I can just understand this, and I'll be able to make something. I'll be inspired when this this masterclass ends. But in the middle, I was like, oh God, I didn't even think of he talked about one song from his album Amir. There's a song called Hara. And when I heard that song for the first time, I heard door slams he has used door slams in the music production. I found that very cool, and it stayed in my mind. I also had made a cover of that song. So for me, it was just another very good music production technique that he has used. But when he explained it to me, to us in the masterclass, there was a proper approach that thought process went into making that song. It was when the character in the movie is helpless and all the doors in front of him are closing, and that is why he used that door slam sound. There is thought that when you understand what went into making that sound, that is when you realize, oh my God, we just heard the first layer of it, and there's so much thought process that went into making that sound. was.
Amazing.
So when I heard that, that is when I realized, oh my god, have no idea what I'm doing with my life. How am I going to ever make a song? This is the amount of passion I need to generate. But towards the end, then he motivates that keep doing good music, and
Of course.
so I really enjoyed that. So that was a very thorough experience. And the I wish that AR sir would do something like this, where he is showing up project file of his where he is explaining the music breakdown, because that would be gold. That would be such an amazing thing to watch. I have searched everywhere on the internet to see where he is actually explaining. First of all, in the interviews also, he doesn't talk much, so that's very hard to find out what is his process and how is he doing stuff. I've searched a lot, but I've watched interviews of his arrangers, but somehow they also don't speak that much. I don't know why. So I don't understand how will I crack this, because Amit sir, there's one masterclass and there's other interviews, and also I've met him. So if I want to, I can just get an idea of how he does. I'm just very curious how these people function. What is that process? When is that point where that magic happens? I just want to experience that sometime.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
I'm sorry that I just went on talking.
No, that's good. I love hearing stuff like this. And who knows, there might be how should I say, maybe indirect answers to all these aspects in the podcast, because all of this, the entire Sirs team has come on the podcast. So they've all described about the journey and then a life cycle of a song or a project, what happens and things like that. So I'll definitely share the important ones to you. Maybe when you get a chance, you can watch it. And Yash, I have to put you on the spot for something. Coming towards the end of the podcast, and obviously I would love to keep the podcast going for hours and hours, but I have to be conscious of the fact that I don't want to hamper your creative process. So with that said, we are here for the man that we absolutely love, adore, and we would do anything for him. So any message or a dedication for ARR sir?
God, I should have been prepared for this. Actually, as I said, I have just one wish. I have no plans of even have. I don't even have the audacity to ask him that if I can work with him. I have like I can't even imagine about that. I have just one wish. I just want to be in a studio for like 10 minutes, just touch his feet. I want to touch his feet once and just thank him and meet him and thank him. That's all I want in life. Because that's all I can do. What else can a musician like me can contribute to what Sir is doing? All I can do is like I'm learning sketching. I've started learning sketching because I want to sketch his portrait and put it in my studio.
Wow.
So that's what I'm learning sketching for that. So yeah, I wish I can just gift him that sketch and just thank him. That is all I want.
Amazing. I'm sure it'll happen, and beyond that too, I'm pretty sure Sir's definitely going to invite you to work with him in some form. So yeah, I really hope that happens, because passionate people like yourself are the ones who really need to be around him, and he will love that energy and you will love that energy, and then magic will happen from there. So I really hope and I pray that this happens, and I will invite you on the podcast when that happens, and please don't decline the request.
Absolutely.
And so lastly, as I told you, the I Love ARR community was evolved as part of this journey. You have a huge fan following in there. They absolutely love. And one thing that unanimously everyone says is your creativity in everything that you do. So anything that you want to share to your fans in the I Love ARR community?
Oh, I would like them to see my Dhaka Laka Buga cover, which I'd made using the chips packet and the chammach and all. So
I have seen it. Why didn't I talk about that? Yes, I have seen it myself. I loved it.
Yeah, I also forgot it. I just recalled it. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, I absolutely love that. Where did this idea come from? Okay, you have triggered a
Oh
question
yeah,
for me.
I have always loved that song, and the Yuva whole album I've loved. But
Yeah.
there's the snare of that song is. I always felt like, have they actually used chips crunch in that? So that was my starting point for that. And I was just eating chips, and I thought this was the mic on which I recorded it, and I just crunched it and recorded it, and just I put out the snare,
Hmm.
and it fit right. So I just figured out everything else, and I brought some chammach and some the steel thing from my kitchen, and then I added to it, and it was sounding very thick. It was already
Wow.
sounding thick, so I just layered it, and I love that song. Like I love singing that song. So yeah, so that was my starting point, and I was hoping somehow sir will see it, but that
Hmm.
didn't happen. But I think now, like there are so many people following me now. I think if I make something of that kind, I'll make sure that he sees it. I don't know how to do that, but I'll definitely tag him in everything I
Please
post.
do, please do. I'm sure he will. And he knows about you. And quite obviously, that is the reason why he mentioned you,
Right,
asking whether
right,
you
right.
made that video, right?
Yeah,
So,
but I think he knows me for the dialogue mashups. It's little. I want him to know for the like the good stuff I've made, other stuff that I've made. So let's see how it goes.
right, right. And so, yes, of course, we touched upon various aspects. And I was just curious to know, is there anything that you wanted to talk about and I didn't ask?
I think yeah, we talked about AR sir and we talked about Amit sir. That's all I want to talk.
Man, you're so humble, and you're not even mentioning about yourself, and that's the best part. I mean, I think this
Yeah.
humility will take you places. It has already taken you to a whole new level, but I really hope that it takes you 100 times more or 1,000 times more. I'm not exaggerating, but I really hope that this stays forever, Yash. And I'm super thrilled that I got to meet you virtually and speak to you
Same here, same.
for
I did
over an
not
hour.
know
You give
about
me
this
your time.
community. I did not know that there's a community where you can just go and talk about AR sir. That's amazing. And thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm just thoroughly enjoying this journey. As you would have seen, that I'm so excited talking about this, and it keeps me every time I finish a podcast. It keeps me buzzing with this energy, and I don't get to sleep for a few hours because of this energy. It needs to calm down, and then, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's an amazing journey that I'm on, and it's like a dream run for me. And Sir is very pleased with this journey as well. And then what started like a podcast, an A.R. Rahman podcast, has turned into a talking autobiography of Sir, with almost everyone who has worked with him or known him or associated with him in some shape or form, and then talking about Sir. It's like a talking autobiography, and I'm so thrilled about this. And as I said, my videos, I'm not really into numbers, but my videos
Yeah, I
barely get
got
a
that,
few.
and that is exactly why people like to be somewhere, because you go on other interviews, there people will ask you the most boring questions about everything, because they are only care about the headline that will make, and
Correct.
the more views, the clickbait they
Yeah.
will do. But I just enjoyed being here, and
Thank you.
I'll cherish this topic.
I really would like to bring you back very soon. And you know what? Here's a promise I'll do.
Yeah.
When Amit comes on the podcast for
Yeah.
2.0,
Right.
I will bring you in as a surprise guest.
Oh my God! I'd love that. I'd love that.
And
Please do. I
I
have
will.
so many
I will.
questions for him also.
It is definitely happening soon, and I will definitely bring you in, and then let's just jam in that podcast, and
That is going to be great. That is going to be great.
I'll definitely keep up this promise for sure.
Sure.
Yash, thank you so much, buddy. I thoroughly
Thank you
enjoyed
so much.
it,
And
and I'm so thrilled, and I can't wait to have you back again.
sure.
धक्का लगा बुका खाएगा रे बुका धक्का लगा बुका Oh